So here's a hot take. Is Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader better than Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of CRPGs? I'm going to say yes. So take that with a grain of salt. But I've put over 60 hours into this so far on my Steam Deck, and so I had to talk about it. It's a great game for Steam Deck, and if you're looking for a big RPG to sink hundreds of hours into, I feel like Rogue Trader's the one for you. I haven't finished it, so also take that as a grain of salt, but so far I'm loving everything this game is doing. And if you're a big 40k fan, you'll love it. And even if you're not a 40k fan, you're definitely going to get something out of this because of the quality of the writing that's involved here, and the fact they've got a little dictionary to help you work out what some words mean. I think you'll have a great time here. So before we get into the review or preview of my thoughts on this game, I do want to talk about performance on Steam Deck, because of course that matters. This game is verified on Steam Deck. It has a Steam Deck setting when you load up the game, and you can just play it out the box as so. I've turned FSR on for me personally, just to get a few more frames out of it, but I can understand you not bothering because it does increase the blurriness slightly. But if you're not too worried about a little bit of extra blurriness, go ahead and switch your FSR on. There is mods on Nexus mods to get the latest version of FSR, but I haven't bothered to touch that because I don't want to break my achievements or trophies, whatever you want to call them. So I'm just playing it out of the box. So the game is mostly stable on Steam Deck. You are going to get frame drops even with FSR on. Certain areas like big planets with a lot going on, you're going to drop into the mid-20s, but it's a turn-based RPG. It's not going to matter, right? And if you've played Baldur's Gate 3 in your Steam Deck like I have, I put like 160 hours on my Steam Deck. This is fine. You'll be like, this runs way better. There is load times, but going between maps and going down to planets, and even going from the galaxy map to your bridge on your starship, there is or void ship I should call it. There is a few load screens. So if you're not a fan of load screens, worth pointing that out here. So that's the technical side of this over. It's verified, right? So you're going to get a pretty good experience. This is on the OLED I'm playing on, so the LCD I would assume is the same but slightly worse. Again, it's a turn-based RPG with a lot of dialogue, so it's not going to matter that much. So getting onto the dialogue, we'll start with that first. The game gives a really great first impression. Everything is voiced. The voice actors are great. It all sounds very 40k, which is awesome. One thing I learned really quickly all of a sudden is once you break out of the tutorial star systems and things like that, is not everything's voiced. There is a lot of reading involved as well. So if you're not a fan of reading, you may not want to pick this up, but the main story is voiced, but a lot of the side content is not, and none of the NPCs in the world, like if you click on them, will just have text boxes, okay? So if you're looking for a fully voiced experience, that's not what you're going to get here. You're going to get a 50-50 with the main story being voiced and a lot of the side content not being voiced. And I think the side stories for your companions are also voiced most of the time. So there is plenty of voice acting in the game, but it's not completely voice acted. So it's not a knock, but it's worth letting you guys know that. So there's systems on top of systems on top of systems within this game. You have your characters that you level up. You have your void ship that you level up. You have your dynasty of planets that you have to level up. So you've got a lot of different. You've got then your not companions, but the factions in the world. There's about 5 factions that you have to level up for loot, like for gear and items. So there's a lot of mechanics at play here with a lot of different things to be doing at any one time. They then also have in their timed system. So if you leave a planet late, you'll get there late and things will have progressively got worse, or I'm not too sure what happens if you're really, really late, but I know that there is a time Some things are timed, and if you don't get there on time, you're going to be late and bad things happen. You have navigation of the Chronos Expanse, which in itself is quite a mission, because usually jumping between different points will cause incursions on your ship, which you then have to deal with either yourself or spend resources to skip the fight. So there's a lot of complexity here, and I think that's why I'm enjoying it a lot more than Baldur's Gate 3. Don't get me wrong, I love Baldur's Gate 3, and I still want to do another playthrough of that, but I think maybe the setting I prefer here, even though I'm a massive D&D fan, I've been playing for like 15 years, but that goes for 40k as well, so maybe I shouldn't be pitting them against each other. But I must say that the rogue, you feel they do give you that very much power fantasy of being a rogue trader. And what I mean by that is you are the be-all, end-all. You are more important than a governor of a planet. You've got the warrant of trade, which is directly from the emperor, or it comes from Terra. So you're a very important person when you have this warrant of trade. You are very high up the food chain, and they give you that feeling with a lot of the choices you make in dialogue. Well, I'm a rogue trader, I do what the hell I want, so I really do appreciate the power fantasy that they give you in this game. So I haven't even talked about combat, so I might as well quickly talk about combat. It is very much Baldur's Gate 3-esque, but instead of a D20 system, this is a D100 system, so you have to think a little bit differently about weapon skill, and ballistic skill are based on 35, 75, 85, and you've got to roll under that number. So if you've got a ballistic skill of 80, you roll a D100 when you go to attack with your ranged weapon, and if you roll under 80, then you hit. So you will have to think about that. It will feel weird coming from something like Baldur's Gate 3, but you'll pick it up in no time. And then you also have the space combat, which I'm showing here, where your ship has movement and you can't just stop wherever you want. You've got to do, you've got that momentum where you have to keep the ship moving to end your turn. You have broadside cannons and shields, and you have to upgrade your ship, and then you put your crew on different parts of the ship to fire different weapons and get different abilities, but they can also be upgraded. So there's just a lot going on here in terms of mechanics between leveling up, where you can, each character, you pick a base class type, and then there's 3 different subclasses, and then you get another set of subclasses later on. So there's tons of traits and abilities to pick from. It can be quite overwhelming when going through traits and abilities, but there is a character on board your void ship which lets you reset your characters. So don't feel if you make a mistake picking a trait or abilities, don't feel too bad. You will get the opportunity to go back and change them. I am throwing a lot of information at you really fast here, so I'm going to call it quits here, and if what you've seen looks interesting to you, please let me know in the comments below if you've played through Rogue Trader and if you liked it. I'm going to try my damnedest to finish this, and I've also going to do a review for Pokemon Scarlet and Mario Kart World. I've been playing tons of video games this year and I'm loving it. So without further ado, thanks guys, get in there and be a rogue trader.